Good morning, Unity Palo Alto. What will you do today now that you are brave? We're going to begin our talk by honoring Reverend Ruth Mosley. Now, Reverend Mosley was born in March 10th in 1930 in Olive Branch, Mississippi, a segregated town with less than 500 people and 2 churches. Mississippi was known for its poor economy, poor education, poor judicial system, poor social advancement, and more lynchings and killings of African American people than any other in the United States at the time. One day, on her long walk across town to the church that she was allowed to go to, she discovered a folded pamphlet. And on the front of that pamphlet were big letters that said, Unity Magazine. Now, the pamphlet spoke of this idea of God as love. And that left Ruth with a question, a pondering. Are there really actually 2 gods? One that was discriminating, jealous, judging, vengeful, and the other that was just pure love with no consideration for one's skin color or economic status. So Ruth tucked that away into her heart and thought about it for many, many years. Now, in her life, she became pregnant in her early teens and was forced to drop out of school. She had 2 small children that she decided to leave home in search for a better life for her family, leaving them in the care of her parents and her siblings. She moved to Memphis, and then she moved to Detroit, where she found work with a family and began attending Detroit Unity Temple. She met and married William Mosley. He adopted her 2 sons, and they had a little girl between them. That marriage only lasted for a couple of decades. And in that experience, as Mosley tells the story, she took comfort in Romans 8, chapter 28. Know that all things work together for good for those that love God and who are called according to its purpose. It was this truth that led Ruth to her purpose, her calling, to serve others. Armed with this truth principles and sheer determination, Mosley knew that she needed an education to fulfill her purpose, and so she earned her GED through the High School of Commerce and attended classes at Highland Park Junior College and earned her bachelor's degree in sociology and English through Mercy College. In the early 60s, she attended Unity School of Religious Studies, and in 1964, she founded Westside Unity in Detroit. And upon completing the Unity coursework, she was ordained as a Unity minister in 1966. In 1979, Ruth opened the Unity Urban Ministry School. Now, this is an online school that still is very popular today, and the seed idea for the school grew out of a time when discrimination against blacks in Unity was prevalent. It was one of Mosley's teachers, Reverend Johnny Coleman, in an article published in February 1978 in an issue of Ebony magazine, announced to the world the discrimination and prejudices that black people were experiencing in Unity. When asked by a colleague, Reverend Stan Hampson, who you may know as our senior minister emeritus, what can we do to help? Mosley's response was, educate them. We need our own school. So at the time, there were only 10 black ministers in Unity. She explained that the Unity system for licensing teachers and ordaining ministers was stacked against black people with tests biased in favor of white people, and that discrimination practices were counter to Unity's principles and teachings. In other words, Unity was not practicing what we preached. We needed to walk our talk. And so she was given the green light to create a school. However, she was on her own to find the money to do it. So as she puts it, she relied on Unity teachings she had learned and setting her intention to put them into practice. There was a specific passage from Emily Cady's Lessons in Truth that helped her become centered and focused. And that is, before you are conscious of any lack, of any desire for happiness or fulfillment of joy, No, the great Father, Mother God heart has desired them for you. It is spirit in you desiring them. So before you think of any lack of what you don't have or what you want to accomplish, know that spirit, that loving energy is within you, and it is the yearning in you to propel you forward. Reverend Ruth Mosley put everything she had into serving others, and her legacy continues. The house that Ruth built, the Urban Ministry School, stands on firm foundation. Today, it's an affordable, high-quality online program for people of all color and economic status on their path to serving others as an ordained unity minister. And so today we want to honor Reverend Ruth Mosley. And though she's made her transition, we know that her spirit is ever present and our energy that we send to her is received. So together we say, Ruth Mosley, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the light in you. And so it is. You know, in Matthew chapter 9, verse 29, Jesus is quoted as saying, according to your faith, be it done unto you. This is one of the most powerful statements in the book. According to your faith, it is done to you. Faith is that power within us to manifest our life, and we do it through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Armed with this mighty faith, we have the power to take ideas and shape them into expression. So where will you put your power? What is in your heart? What's calling you forward? What is in the yearning of your heart? And what are you a fan of? If you want to know what's in your heart and what's pulling you, what are you truly a fan of? Now, if you were here 2 weeks ago, you heard me talk about the metaphysics of football on that grand day that had a very tragic ending. What are you a fan? And you may have heard the idea at the very end. I was talking about this idea of fans. And what is the metaphysical interpretation, or what is the spiritual metaphor that fans represent? And what I said was fans are the spiritual energy that we spend to create our experience. The spiritual energy that we expend to create our experience. So how powerful are we as fans? Well, there were 123.4 million people who watched the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago. 93% of all broadcast television, cable or wherever it's coming from, 93% of all of it is the NFL. 93% of what we watch as a collective is the NFL. And on that day, that was a $17.3 billion day. All created by fans. You are the energy with which we create that. Now, the NFL wants to take credit for it, and there was nobody watching for a while until they had instant replay. Did you know that? They had a camera way in the top of the stand, one view only, and nobody cared because it was too hard to watch. All of a sudden, they add a few cameras, put in instant replay, and we loved it. But it was our energy as fans that created it, that created this $17.3 billion day. So the question is, what are you a fan of? And where are you putting your energy? Now, I have nothing against the NFL, but I did wonder what the difference was between a fan and a follower. Because if you watch the NFL, if you watch that game, you will have seen people that were covered in paint. Maybe you see them on TV where they're wearing very little clothes, having a giant wedge on their head in the middle of driving snow. That's a fan. Maybe that's a fanatic. I'm not quite sure. There was an article in Forbes that talked about the difference between fans and followers. What's the difference? A fan is an enthusiastic devotee, and a follower is one who follows the opinions or teachings of another. What's the difference between a fan and a follower? Followers come and go, but fans are lasting, everlasting. Fans are always there. There's the fan right there. So fans have a purpose. They have a drive. They feel a goal and wanting to show their support and the things that they admire. Fans are the ones who wear those crazy clothes, and you don't have to wear those crazy clothes to be a true fan, so don't worry. But where are you going to put your fandom? What are you a fan of in life? So in life, as a kid, I would say age 14, because this is where I was really looking for and seeking something in my life. And I don't know, age 14, there's a time there when, everything in your mind, everything begins to shift, and in your body. And so I was really seeking something, and I was fans of two things. The first thing that just hit me like over the head, with like a roller coaster, was punk rock and new wave. Now, I was not one of those fans that shaved my head or smashed televisions or put safety pins in my ears, because I was still too reserved. I was still too restricted in my thinking. But New Wave really gave me the opportunity to find myself and express the energy that was bottled up within me. And my favorite band was Oingo Boingo. Yes, I see there are 3 people who know that band. And there are probably fewer who actually like them, and that's okay. It was a Southern California phenomenon, but I was a fan of them. I probably went to 15 concerts. I had all the clothes. I had the red hair back then. It was, big red hair. So I didn't have to change that at all. I was it. I remember wearing one of my T-shirts, my Oingo Boingo T-shirts, to Mexico when I went down there with my family. We were in one of those marts where there were 100 T-shirt vendors, and I'm looking for some great T-shirts. And I had my Day of the Dead Oingo Boingo shirt on, and they were asking me for it. I'll give you 5 shirts for that shirt. No. I'll give you 10 shirts for that shirt. So guess what I did? I kept it because I was a fan. This T-shirt was mine. Absolutely. So the wonderful thing about this idea is that it gave me the energy at the time to find myself. I was on the outside looking in. At least that's how I felt at the time as a 14-year-old. So it gave me something to really dive into. It gave me something that where I can express myself and felt good about myself. So it allowed me to really give my energy and invite my friends. And of course, I knew all of the lyrics, much to their dismay. So what are you a fan of? Just think about it for a moment. Anything. It can be anything. What are you a fan of? Let me hear it. Animals. Peace, family, Lord of the Rings. Football, Karen Drucker. Art. Babies. Trees. Acoustic music. Rock and roll. Beethoven. What was that one? Unity. Eating. Sarah Ann, are you a fan of knitting? You're knitting right now. What do you want to do with what you're knitting? Share it. She came to me and said, John, I'd like to create some prayer shawls that we can give to people. And back then, we were just coming out of COVID, and no one wanted to touch anything. Well, guess what? Those days are over. We are going to bring your prayer shawls out when you're ready. And you can be a fan of knitting, and you don't have to shave your head, do you? No. Okay. Well, it might help. Maybe shear the sheep. I don't know. That's a different talk altogether. So the second thing that I was a fan of growing up, as somebody mentioned, was unity. Because unity gave me a spiritual practice that I can do in life at age 14. Unity gave me a spiritual set of beliefs that I could buy into, that I agreed with. And I wasn't told to believe this. It was just presented to me as, here are some things. Even when I was going in their youth group, I didn't have to believe it. They just presented it as, here's something. God is. There was only one presence and one power active in our life and in our universe. God, the good the omnipotence. There is no second power. All of that silliness that happens in the world that we call evil or sin is us forgetting that there's only one presence and one power. But when we become aligned with that one presence and one power, we become the beneficial presence in the world. We become what we were created to be. So as we move into this new experience of unity, because every day I'm feeling the energy of newness in the world. We went through this pandemic, and every day there's a new energy that keeps coming out, that I keep seeing. So why is unity so important to me? What is the thing that really drives me here? And what came to me is I started with what we've determined is our evolutionary purpose, and that is, here's what we're here to do. Here's why Unity Palo Alto exists. The why of us is that Unity Palo Alto is here to transform our lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. Now, transform may be too big of a word for you, and that's okay. How about spiritually grow? How about experience more of God in your life? How about experience more of that divine presence, that peace, that joy, that understanding that comes when you are one with the infinite flow of life, love, and wisdom? Unity Palo Alto is here to help us connect and commune with Spirit. With whatever words you want to call it, that energy, that divine energy that flows in through and as us, we're here to connect with it and commune with it. We're here to uplift, inspire ourselves and each other. We're here to grow spiritually, mind, body, and presence. We're here to connect and share in community. We're here to learn and practice spiritual tools for everyday life. And we're here to celebrate life, experiencing and belonging in our oneness. We're here to know and demonstrate our spiritual ability within and without. And we're here to share our spiritual gifts with the world. Now, if you were to share your spiritual gifts with the world, wouldn't that make a positive impact on the world? Sorry, what was that? Yes. Yes. And it all begins with faith. It all begins with faith. From Acts chapter 17, the God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord in heaven and earth, does not live in the shrines made by man, nor is it served by human hands, as though it needed anything, since he himself gives to all people life and breath and everything. Yet it is not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being. That one idea that God is everywhere present. God is in me like the ocean is in the wave. You heard me quote Eric Butterworth. But you are also in God like the current is in the ocean. You are the action and activity of the ocean in motion. You are here to bring forth those gifts simply by allowing yourself to be present to that one presence and power, allowing that energy to flow through you with ease and grace, aligning your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And we do that through meditation and affirmative prayer. We do that through spiritual teaching. We do that in many ways. And so how we're going to do it in this coming year? Well, we express this idea through three things: enrich, engage, and empower. We enrich. We are here to teach spiritual principles, to provide classes, to provide opportunities to connect and to grow, to give you spiritual principles that you can then apply in your life if you choose, to help you live a more joyful and abundant life. I'm going to be teaching a class. Joe, where are you, Joe? There you are. Joe inspired me last week when she was talking about, we installed her as one of our licensed Unity teachers, and she talked about the idea. When she first got the idea was through a prosperity class called the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. So I'm going to be teaching that coming up. Lessons in Truth that Ruth Mosley talked about. That's an advanced study dive into our metaphysical teachings. I'm going to be teaching that after that class. So just opportunities for us to dip our toes in a little bit more. You don't have to believe it. All we ask is that you try it. You practice it. You put it into your life and see what happens. See how your life changes. We engage. Our job here as a spiritual community is to, I hope, have people feel like they're welcome and that they belong and that this is their spiritual community and this is their spiritual family. And so I think for me, one of our two focuses is on how do we create that experience for those of us who are here and those of us who are new. If you're new here, we want you to have an experience of, I'm welcome. And so we've formed a welcoming council to help us look at that energy from the perspective of nothing is broken. Our energy may be shifted a little bit. How can we refocus that energy so that we allow people to feel that if they choose? Because let's face it, not everyone's going to agree with unity. Do you get that? We're not here for everyone. We're here for everyone who wants to open their heart to a new understanding, a deepening of their spiritual experience in life. And if you're not ready, that's okay. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. All of you. And empowering. How can we empower each other in this experience so that we can raise ourselves up and be that expression in life? Now, as we're coming out of the pandemic, there was one area of our ministry that has been non-existent, and it's time to start that. And that's our youth ministry. Before the pandemic, we had kids from little babies to teenagers who were here experiencing unity principles in their own way. And during the pandemic, it just fell away. Well, now it's time, I believe, to start it because the energy is here for it. The energy is saying, yes, it's time. And it's not just so those little kids can have that experience that I had when I was 14. My Youth of Unity experience was how I entered my career in unity. It's for them, yes, but it's also for their parents. Because if you don't have anything for the little kids, those 30-something, 40-something, 20-something parents don't have any place to go. So there's a great area here that is ready that we're going to put energy into. And like Ruth Mosley, I have no idea how we're going to do it. It's not in our budget. We don't have the finances for it. But we're going to use truth principles. We're going to use Unity's prosperity principles by first setting the intention. We just did that today. We're going to have a youth program this year. Yes? And so we set that intention, and then we open ourselves up to Spirit. As I don't know the details, but God does. I don't have to know the details, but God does. And we are all the details, and when we come together as fans, what can we create? Imagine what we create here. One of the first practices in our spiritual principles is the law of cleansing, right? Because those thoughts and things, all that lack that Emily Cady was talking about, all those thoughts of lack, we have to let go. We have to cleanse our consciousness. We have to make space for the energy. And one of the places and the way we can do that is to actually cleanse the youth program. We have 3 rooms over there. 2 rooms that are classrooms, 1 room that was a director's room, and I tell you, that room is filled to the brim with stuff. So over the next few months, I'm going to schedule a cleanup day where we're going to put into practice the cleansing law of prosperity. We're going to clean up all of those offices. We're going to create the energy in the space. And when we clean up that consciousness, when we let go of those thoughts, something has to take its place. The universe rushes in and says, oh, there's room here. Yay. I'm pretty sure that's what the universe sounds like. And it feeds us what we are looking for, that yearning in our heart. So we set the intention, the yearning of our heart is to serve that population that's not here. We set the intention, and then we start cleansing our minds, our thoughts, and our physical area so that we have a space, the energy can flow, and the ideas can come in, and then we can move and act and create. That's what faith is. We all have wonderful ideas, but unless you start writing them down, They're noodling in your head. They're bouncing around. Joe and I were talking about this. She had an idea. I said, write it down. Because if you don't write it down, it's going to still be there in 3 years. Just noodling. Write it down. That's the first step in making something manifest. We take it out of thought, we put it on paper, and then it grows from there. And then we create from there. And together, as a spiritual community, together, when we come together, imagine the things that we can create. I love football. And I'm astonished that that $17.3 billion day is what we created. Imagine what we can create if we put it into something, that energy, that focus, into something that we really wanted to see thrive. Imagine what we can create. If together we came together and took that energy and said, I'm going to do this. Imagine what we can create. Let's move to our affirmation, Felix. For it is with faith, that power, that energy within us to focus, the power within us to focus that energy, to give direction to that energy, to make it a part of our lives. That's what faith is. And it's with that faith that we step into the flow of Spirit. It's always there, but we're too clogged up to let that energy flow through us until we cleanse out those negative thoughts, until we cleanse out the areas in our life that are congesting us. And so we step into the flow of Spirit, and I give my energy to my heart's desire. What is it that I want to see happen in this world today? I need to give that energy to the world. I'll read our affirmation and then invite you to affirm it with me with the energy that is within you. With faith, I step into the flow of Spirit and give my energy to my heart's desire. Together, with faith, I step into the flow of Spirit and give my energy to my heart's desire. And so it is. We live, we move, we have our being in Spirit. We are never separate from it. And when we decide to put our energy into experiencing more of that, we are uplifted. We are healthy, we are whole, we're living into the flow of life, love, and wisdom. Let's take that into our time of meditation and affirmative prayer. I invite you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath as we release and let go of whatever thoughts, feelings, sensations that we are having. If there's any stress or strain in our thoughts, any yeah buts, any should-havites, anything telling us that we're not good enough, we just simply let it go. And as our thoughts settle, our emotions settle, and our heart and our body becomes present, I invite you to breathe into this present moment and feel the energy of the earth beneath you. Feel that energy ground you in this present moment. Breathing into our solar plexus, we feel divine wisdom. We sense that still small voice, that intuition that speaks to us, guiding us, allowing us to make wise and loving decisions. We breathe into our mind and allow our thoughts to be open to divine inspiration, to infinite possibility. And we breathe into our heart, feeling the energy of divine love, that harmonizing, healing, prospering energy of Spirit as it flows from within our heart out into the world. We are one with the infinite flow of life, love, and wisdom. And so we let our love, our wisdom, that divine intelligence to flow through us in this moment, sending this energy out into the world in the stillness of the silence. I am one with the infinite flow of life, love, and wisdom. Divine love, the healing, harmonizing, prospering energy of spirit, speaks to my heart. My heart's desires are the impulse of spirit. Divine wisdom, that inner voice, that intuition guides me with wisdom every step of the way. Divine inspiration, I receive and form thoughts of creation, thoughts of creating a life of joy, of peace, of abundance. And with the whole of my being, I say yes to life, allowing this energy of love to flow through me with ease and grace. And as I do, I make a positive difference in the world. I send this energy of love out now to our prayer chest, to all of those who have sent in prayers online or in person. And if there's somebody who you hold in prayer, I invite you to bring their name to mind or say their name out loud. Breathing into this present moment, we send this love, this energy out into the world, blessing all of our friends and family, blessing our spiritual community, blessing all of those who are seeking yet haven't found Unity Palo Alto. We send this energy out into the world, blessing all of humanity, recognizing that in this moment, we are raising the consciousness of the whole by sending our love. We bless all of those who have been affected by the violence, the wars, the experiences that have occurred in our life. And we affirm that divine love is doing its perfect work in this moment to heal our planet. As we bless all of creation, we are making a positive difference in the world. And as we breathe into this present moment, returning to our heart and feeling that love within us, let us give thanks. Allow that thankful, healing energy to flow as we celebrate and sing the Alleluia.
Hallelujah.